I've been looking after my younger brother, Justin, 33M, since he was 10. Our parents passed away when I was only 16, so I had to step up and take care of the household while he was still little. I did everything for him, and he meant the world to me. Maybe I spoiled him a bit too much. Because of my responsibilities, I didn't date much until I met Melissa, 35F, about 10 years ago. We dated for 2 years, and it was great. My brother really liked her too. One day, I overheard a conversation Melissa was having with her friend. She was talking about me, saying she loves how I take care of her in every way, but she found me average in bed. Her friend asked her if she is going to talk to me about it, or how is she happy. She told her that her fixture is my brother. Then, she spilled the tea. She had been having an affair with Justin for the past 8 months. She justified it by saying she thinks Justin is better in bed than I am. It was incredibly painful to hear. I tried to act like I hadn't heard anything and went inside the house. So I confronted Justin about the whole thing. I know how to get him to talk. After he kept denying it, I pushed him hard on the matter. Finally, he couldn't hold it in anymore and admitted it was true. He stayed quiet to avoid hurting me. He's in love with Melissa and wants to marry her, but she won't leave me alone. I was beyond furious. I wanted to punch him in the face, but instead, I just told him he's dead to me and walked away. I threw Melissa out too, and she ended up crashing with my brother and his roommates. My brother kept banging on my door nonstop. It got so bad that I had to move in with a friend, and I made sure nobody told my brothers where I was. His calls and emails were all the same, that he was sorry, and he never wanted to hurt me and he will break up. I stopped the bank account I had set up for him, like a trust fund he could access when he turned 25. At that point, he wasn't my brother anymore. I fell into a deep depression. My eating and sleeping habits went all haywire. Every night I'd have nightmares of my brother and ex laughing at me, saying I was terrible in bed. They made it seem like if I had been better, she wouldn't have left me. Things got so bad that at one point, I found myself standing in front of a train track, feeling like I couldn't handle it anymore. Luckily, my few friends came to my rescue. They were my lifeline during that tough time, and I stayed with them for a whole year. I decided to seek help and went to therapy, attending group sessions too. Closeness became a big anxiety trigger for me, so I avoided dating for a long while. But my friend encouraged me to give it a shot, and I did try once with a one-night stand, but it didn't work out well for either of us. Even now I continue with therapy, but I'm happy to say that other areas of my life have improved. I started focusing on building new relationships with different people. I took the opportunity to travel and explore new hobbies. Most importantly, I learned to live for myself and put my well-being first. I've been with someone for 3 years now, and we're engaged and expecting a child together. Wendy, 32F, is a really sweet person. She knows all about my insecurities and the issues my brother caused me. She's been really mature and patient with me, and because of her, I've been able to trust someone enough to be in a relationship. A couple of days ago, I received a wedding invitation in the mail, and guess who it's from? Yup, my brother. He's been keeping an eye on me from a distance and invited me to his wedding with none other than Melissa. Seeing their names together doesn't hurt as much now, but I feel kind of numb about the whole thing. If this had happened 8 years ago, I would have had a complete breakdown. I still feel this pain inside that I can't be happy for my brother on his big day. My fiancé suggests that we shouldn't go to the wedding and just delete the invitation. You know what? I just want to see them suffer. I don't have any love or blessings left for my brother. When our parents passed away, they entrusted me with taking care of him, and they said we'd look out for each other when we grew up. But he completely threw that away. It's not just the fact that Melissa cheated that hurts. It's more painful that my own brother betrayed me. Update. Hey guys, I've been thinking about giving you all an update soon. You know how much people on Reddit love updates, but I had to delay it because I have a baby girl now. When I made the original post, my fiancé, now wife, was already 8.5 months pregnant, and we ended up having an early delivery. Our baby girl, Emily, is just the cutest little thing, bringing so much joy to both of us. She's so tiny and adorable, and she's got eyes just like mine. It's unbelievable how we created something so precious. I can't get enough of holding her, and my wife gets a little annoyed sometimes because she thinks I might spoil her too much. Oh, and by the way, my fiancé and I got married pretty quickly in a simple court marriage. We didn't want a big wedding, and we're all doing just fine. Some of you asked how my brother knew my address. Well, he actually didn't. He only knew my email and my work email. He probably figured out which company I work for, and from there, he tracked down my email and sent an invitation. A few days ago, I received another email from my brother. I had forgotten to block him, so it got through. Usually, I don't check my work email much since most things are forwarded in Slack. In the email, my brother poured his heart out. He acknowledged that he knows I won't come to his wedding, but he still wanted me there on his big day. He apologized for what he did and admitted he'd never forgive himself for his actions. He knew he shouldn't have slept with Melissa, but he did it anyway. Growing up, he had always been jealous of me. He envied that I was the more capable brother, always looking after him like a babysitter. When Melissa approached him, he felt like he finally had some importance. Deep down, he knew he was in the wrong, and he wanted to stop. When I told him he was dead to me, it triggered a panic attack in him. He desperately tried to contact me, but my friends wouldn't reveal my location. They stood by my side and refused to be part of his wedding with Melissa, as they also saw me as a big brother figure. Even his own friends judged him harshly for what he had done. His life hit rock bottom when he heard from one of his friends that I had attempted to end my life. 2 years ago, Melissa and my brother made up. At that time, she was a single mom and felt guilty about her past actions because her child's father had cheated on her and left. She wanted to apologize to me, and that's how they rekindled their romance. However, things didn't go well, and my brother eventually called off the wedding and broke up with Melissa again. He still wants me to be there for his big day, even though I've disowned him. He's willing to do whatever it takes to reconcile, even if it takes a lifetime. That's pretty much the gist of it. There was a lot of emotional stuff in the email, but I chose to ignore it and deleted it. My therapist told me that forgiveness should come naturally from the subconscious when we genuinely feel we can forgive someone. It should only be an option if the person shows remorse through their actions, not just their words. Honestly, I don't want to forgive him. I know it may seem petty and cruel, but I'm happy with my life the way it is. Adding him to my life will just bring stress. My wife advised me to let it go and not hold him responsible at all. I fear that if I forgive him, he'll go right back to Melissa. He needs to sort out his own life and be an adult now. I've coddled him enough. It's time for him to take responsibility. People keep asking me about my brother's life, so I want to clear things up. Honestly, I have no clue what he's been up to. I deliberately moved far away from him and even changed jobs to create distance. He must have found out my workplace from where he sent the email. For a whole decade, I acted like he didn't exist, and therapy helped me cope with it. I treated him as if he were already dead. I'm not sure what happened between him and Melissa, but from his email, I can piece together that they dated for a few years and broke up. His friends didn't approve of him being with her, so they canceled the wedding because of Melissa. My brother mentioned he doesn't want to get married unless I'm there to support him, but honestly, it doesn't have to be Melissa. Anyone could fill that role. I don't know why Melissa came back, but she must have thought I would just accept her like a doormat. She should know me better than that. When it comes to holding a grudge, I admit I'm quite stubborn. I had no idea that my actions would have such an impact on my brother's friends. They were genuinely good people who used to hang out with us. Even though they were younger, they treated me like a brother. After I cut off contact with my brother, 2 of his friends, who never had a positive male role model, apologized to me. But I haven't stayed in touch with them. If he truly regretted what he did, he wouldn't have chosen to marry Melissa, the woman who played a big part in ruining my life along with my brother. Did he really think I would forget all the pain and trauma they caused me? Forgiveness doesn't set you free. It just creates another trap. Over the years, I've learned that forgiveness is a tool used by cowards who want to escape the consequences of their wrongdoings. They believe that by receiving forgiveness, the guilt they carry will magically disappear. But true forgiveness can never be forced. It has to be earned, and he hasn't done anything to earn it. Second story. Let me give you some background first. We've been together for a solid 6 years, and our lives are deeply connected. Before meeting my future wife, I only had one other serious girlfriend. We dated for 3 years, got married, and it's been about 2.5 years since we tied the knot. Like any long-term couple, we've had our ups and downs, fights, and romantic moments. Lately, things have been a bit tougher. But life is stressful. Due to financial reasons, we had to move in with her mother, and surprisingly, it's working for all of us. Recently, she's been spending a lot of time with one of our mutual friends. She hangs out with him quite frequently, especially when I'm busy with work. They do regular stuff like watching TV, having drinks, going to the beach, and so on. The visits have become much more frequent in the last few months, happening at least once a week, if not more. Lately, my friend has been avoiding me and not willing to hang out when I'm around. This made me more suspicious with each meeting. Last Friday, after a separate argument with my intoxicated wife, I had a strong urge to check her phone. This was unusual for me since I normally respect her privacy, but my suspicions got the best of me, and I gave in to the temptation. I looked at her text messages with the guy in question. What I discovered crushed me. The messages were explicit and detailed, going back at least 2 months. It made me feel sick to my stomach, and I became dizzy and pale as I read them. The messages referred to his tool in her mouth, with her mentioning how he makes her insatiable. I was in shock. It was hard to comprehend. My thoughts were all over the place. In just a few minutes, I experienced a flood of emotions I had never felt before. Disgust, betrayal, anger, regret, fear, and profound sadness. How could my beloved wife do this to me? I couldn't shake the image of her with that jerk, someone who had been my friend long before I even met her. How could he betray our friendship like that? In that moment, I even thought about resorting to extreme measures. I felt utterly shattered, crying uncontrollably beside my drunken wife. I can't forgive her. I made up my mind then and there that this is unforgivable. I need to leave and be on my own. The problem is, I don't have any money saved up, and I don't have my own car. I hardly own anything at all. I decided not to confront her about knowing yet, so I can prepare myself for living alone. With the help of a few supportive friends, I managed to find a new place to move into. I also have another friend who's selling me their car. I'm getting my ducks in a row to drop a bomb on this cheating witch and get away. As it stands now, my plan is to pack and move all my belongings while she's at work tomorrow. I'll have to pick her up from work later in the day. When she gets home and sees all my stuff gone, the final argument will begin. I don't know exactly what I'll say, but I have a lot to express, and the words will come naturally. Edit. The issue I have here is that I'll need to use her car to move my stuff on Friday, so I'm considering a new plan. I'll write a concise but impactful note, more than just, I know, but not too lengthy. Leave it along with the car and keys at her workplace, and then a friend will pick me up so we can leave without a trace. This way, she'll read the note, be devastated, and return home to find all my belongings gone and no sign of me. I'm already preparing to hire a lawyer. I believe I have enough evidence, and I've familiarized myself with divorce laws in Maryland to cover my bases. Fortunately, we don't have significant assets, communal property, or children, which I'm thankful for. Update. As for Friday, it went as well as it could in a situation like this. I took the advice I received from Reddit and changed my plan before the day even began. There was no final argument. Despite learning the devastating news, our last week together went surprisingly well. We went to the beach early in the week and had an incredible closeness on Wednesday night. On Thursday, we had a fancy dinner, she paid for it, and then went to the movies, also her treat. Friday morning, she seemed really happy, and we had a great closeness. I dropped her off at work, gave her a sincere hug, and said goodbye. Little did I know it would be our last conversation. Right away, I went to get the keys to my new place and some boxes for packing. I hurried home to start packing my things. My brother-in-law was home at the time, so I pulled him aside and shared the news. He was furious at his sister and completely supportive of me. We had a heartfelt conversation, and he was there for me as I packed. He was an amazing brother, and I made sure to let him know how much I appreciated his support. We cried and talked for a while, and he did everything he could to help me. Sadly, most of my belongings fit into just one carload in a small hatchback. After unloading the first trip, it was almost time for my friend with a truck to finish work. I went back to my old place, and my mother-in-law was there now. We had a long conversation, and she offered her support. While she didn't take sides, she understood my decision and was very encouraging. She assured me that I could count on her for help any time, and that I was still considered family to her. We talked and cried together for a while, although she hoped we could work things out. I explained that I could never forgive her daughter, and she respected my choice. I left my wife's car at the house and asked my mother-in-law to pick her up after work. Throughout the day, my wife was going crazy because I was ignoring her. She tried to reach me multiple times, called and sent countless messages, but I ignored them all. She even started calling my friends and family, worried that something had happened to me. When they spoke to me, I asked them to tell her that they couldn't get a hold of me either. I initially planned to leave a note at home, but I got caught up in emotions while talking to her mother-in-law and completely forgot. I might be seen as weak, but eventually I did send her a message saying, "I'm not going to discuss this right now, and I'll continue to ignore your texts. There's nothing you can say to me at this moment. I hope you're happy with him, and I hope it was worth it. I can never forgive you." Of course, after that, she sent me a few messages, begging and apologizing. She admitted what she did, said she felt like the worst person in the world, and claimed that I am the love of her life and the only one she wants. She even had the nerve to mention, "We broke it off almost 2 weeks ago," as if that's supposed to make me feel better. I haven't responded to anything else she said. Now, let's fast forward to my new place. Unpacking and settling in has been great for my morale. I'm in high spirits, feeling optimistic and alive. I'm moving in with my longest-known friend, who's been there for me since I first moved to Maryland over 10 years ago. Spending time with close friends, having good conversations, and enjoying nature is helping me heal. With this second chance at independence, I plan to take a step back, reflect on my life, and work on improving myself and finding happiness within. I want to shed a few pounds, focus on enhancing my musical abilities. I play guitar, bass, drums, and dabble in electronic music. And most importantly, go out and experience the world and the people in it. Traveling a bit, meeting new people, and exploring new places are some of my goals. Despite the terrible situation I'm going through, I feel revitalized and full of energy. Update. I haven't shared an update because I don't think it would be as exciting as the divorce story. Life is unpredictable and doesn't always go as planned. But in general, things have been going well. I'm enjoying my independent life, and I even have a new female friend. I'm still waiting for a year of separation to finalize the divorce. Third story. Just to give you some background, we were married for 16 years and together for 20. We have 4 kids, aged 24, 17, 10, and 7. I found out about her affair with a coworker after hacking her phone and seeing their messages. The divorce was finalized in December. In December, I learned she was seeing the affair partner right after moving out through a text meant for him, but sent to me. Overall, our divorce has been very friendly. I got to keep the house, my car, Harley, and business. She only asked for child support, nothing more. We're still good friends, but she lies to me a lot, so I'm cautious about what she tells me. We're doing a great job co-parenting our kids. The issue is that my ex decided to work extra hours today and asked if I could take care of our 7 and 10-year-old boys. I had no problem with that, but as soon as we got in the car, my 7-year-old started bombarding me with questions about Mom's new friend. Apparently, the AP and his 12-year-old son stayed over at my ex's place last Friday. The AP apparently slept in bed with my ex. The AP's 12-year-old son had a sleepover with my 7-year-old and told him, "My dad and your mom are boyfriend and girlfriend," which left my son feeling confused. He was also told that the AP's dad might become his new dad. And to top it off, my son asked why this guy was sleeping in bed with his mom. On Saturday, they spent the day shopping at the trampoline park, having lunch, and acting like a family. I was totally blindsided by all of this, and it's clear my ex didn't have a conversation with our son about it. This was the first time my son met these people. I don't think it's fair that I have to clean up my ex's mess, and I find it highly inappropriate for the AP to sleep in her bed. We're not fully divorced yet, and neither is the AP. How should I handle this situation? My son is confused, and I don't think I should have to cover for his mother's bad decisions. Several months later, my ex called me crying and asked if I could take the kids overnight again. I was concerned and asked what was wrong. She replied that karma hit me hard. She explained that something felt off, so she decided to check her affair partner's phone while he was in the shower. To her shock, she found a long string of messages on Facebook with texting, pictures, and explicit conversations, the same way I had discovered her affair. My ex is 39, her affair partner is 52, and his new affair partner is married and just 28. Now don't get me wrong, Part of me wanted to rejoice because it finally happened to her. I had warned her from day one that the guy was a predator. However, after listening to her, I realized she was deeply in love with him, and another part of me felt sorry for her. Interestingly, she apologized to me more that day than she ever did about cheating on me. She said things like, "I am so sorry I put you through this," and "I never realized how much this hurt you." I took her apologies with a grain of salt because I've moved on and found someone else. We've been happily dating for the last 6 months. The main point of this post is to let everyone know that even in the toughest divorce situations, things can work out, and sometimes karma will step in and bring a small piece of retribution. 2 years later, there was nearly a second cheating incident with the affair partner, but my ex caught him before they could meet up. She has complete control over his phone, monitoring all his apps and constantly checking his messages. Sounds like a living nightmare to me. My ex and the AP are still kind of together, but it's a really strange on-off situation. Let me explain. According to her, they're not together, and both of their Facebook pages say they're single. However, she still occasionally wears his engagement ring, just like how she refused to return my $12,000 wedding ring. She stays at his apartment now and then, but claims they're just friends. Yeah, right. Who stays over at their ex's place, sleeps in their bed, and calls it just hanging out? It's amusing how she thinks everyone is naive enough to believe that. In the meantime, she had to change jobs because she was really close friends with the plant manager there. They were always talking, going to lunch together, riding Harleys, taking walks on breaks and all that. Rumors started swirling around, and things got messy at work. Her work friend is a married guy with 3 kids, but he still visits her place occasionally and takes her out on Harley rides, to the movies, or whatever they do. Apparently, our teenage son caught them kissing in the driveway, and he didn't know who the guy was. So he called me to ask, and I played dumb, telling him to ask his mother who that was. He got the impression that she and the AP were still together because the guy was over the day before, grilling out and mowing her lawn. Then, there's another new guy on the scene. She won't say how or where she met him, but they went on 2 dates and she didn't seem too interested in him. It turns out they knew each other from a previous job, and he kept talking about how he wanted to be with all her friends and coworkers from back in the day. The other day we were discussing retirement. I told her about my plan to semi-retire in 6 years, once child support ends and all the kids turn 18. My idea is to move to a warmer climate down south. She started with a sob story, saying she had to raise all our children while I built the business, and she'll probably have to work until she dies and will never get to retire. But that's far from the truth. I put in just as much time, housework, and effort into our family as she did. There were even a few years when I did even more than her, while she was out partying with her friends 4 or 5 nights a week. In response to her, I said, "You made your choice to leave me and go with your AP." It was amazing to see the expression on her face. I used to be her retirement plan, but now she only has $14,000 in her 401k, and she's in her early 40s. Even if she stays with her AP or goes back to him, he doesn't have much money saved up for retirement or any significant savings at all. So there's some karma in that. Here's some advice for those of you going through a divorce or about to go through one. My life was completely shattered from October 2018 to December 2019, when our divorce was finalized. But fast forward a few years to now, and I've never been happier. I'm planning to retire early and enjoy some beach time. My relationship with my kids is stronger and better than ever. When things seem dark and terrible, be a good person. Don't lie or deceive. Avoid being malicious, and don't involve the kids in any conflicts between you and your ex-partner. Keep your head up and keep moving forward. The further you walk away from the darkness, the better your life will become. 4th story. I, 40F, have been silently observing on Reddit for a long time, never sharing my story. It's a typical Reddit tale you might come across, but I feel the need to let it out to the world. Thank goodness for Reddit. So let me tell you about my sister, 43F, whom I'll call Ursula. Yes, like the villain. She's always made my life a living hell. Ursula is incredibly manipulative and a narcissist. She acts nice to me when she needs something, but then completely ignores me afterwards. When we were growing up, I thought we were close as sisters. We didn't have the usual fights that make sisters jealous of each other. Now, Looking back as an adult, I believe she actually hated me. She used to give me backhanded compliments like, "Your face looks better with your glasses," or "You have a boy crush. I thought you were a lesbian. I used to be a tomboy." I always tried to be like her and be everyone's favorite, thinking she was helpful and kind. Or at least, that's what she wanted us to believe. She always made me feel insecure about my looks and the people I dated. When I was 17, I had my first boyfriend, and she made me believe he wasn't right for me, and so on. I ended up breaking up with him, my mistake. Later, I moved out of state for college, studying engineering while she went to business school. Yet, whenever I returned home for holidays, she would still give me those backhanded compliments. At 21, I started dating my ex-husband, Jordan. Thankfully, at that time, my sister was focused on someone else, so her attention wasn't on Jordan. He also wasn't her type. We dated for 3 years and got married. For 4 years, my life was happy. But during that time, my sister announced she was pregnant. We all assumed it was from her then-boyfriend, Remy. One day I visited my sister with some food for her pregnancy. She gave me permission to enter her place and handed me a key. As I went inside without knocking, I was surprised to find Jordan's shoes outside. Feeling suspicious, I entered her bedroom, and as you might have guessed, they were without clothes and had closeness. To keep it short, I divorced Jordan. I was in a lot of pain and devastated. My parents supported me, but they seemed to shift their focus more towards my sister and Jordan. Yes, she was pregnant with his child, and it hurt to see them together. Neither of them ever apologized. They just shrugged it off as shit happens. To get away from the situation, I moved away from home 8 years ago when I got a work contract in England. It was a fresh start for me there. I met Peter, a single dad, and we fell in love, got married, and now have a son together. I don't have any contact with my sister. I rarely talk to my dad, but he keeps me updated. Recently, I found out that Jordan and Ursula got married and had 2 more kids. That's pretty much all I knew about them until now. Turns out Jordan cheated on Ursula, and they're going through a nasty fight. To make things worse, 2 of their kids aren't even Jordan's, so Ursula hasn't been faithful at all. My dad said it's a complete mess, and they'll probably end up getting divorced, but she's pushing for alimony. I hung up the phone and poured myself a drink. Honestly, I'm glad I'm thousands of miles away from all that drama. My mom called me too, saying she needs me, but I'm not sure if I want to go or not. As much as I might enjoy seeing Ursula's life falling apart, I'm not sure if I want to get involved in all that drama. Edit. Since people seem curious and want all the details, I thought I'd add more information. My sister cheated on Remy, who was a really nice guy. He was devastated when he found out that my sister's child wasn't his, but actually Jordan's. Afterward, Remy moved on and found a wonderful wife. I still follow him on Instagram. My parents were angry at Ursula, but she's a manipulative person and convinced everyone that Jordan forced her into having closeness with him, threatening to divorce me if she didn't comply. She made it seem like she was saving my marriage by sleeping with my husband. How typical. I got married in London, but my relatives couldn't come due to the long distance. However, my father was able to attend. Unfortunately, my mother couldn't come because she was recovering from back surgery at that time. Some people wrongly believe that my parents were bad, but that's not true. They were just regular human beings. I understand they were in a tough situation having to choose between 2 kids. Besides, they were becoming grandparents and couldn't abandon my sister. Even though she's difficult, they didn't let her get away with everything. They supported me during my divorce and paid for my therapy after it. They couldn't completely cut off Ursula because she was pregnant. My dad and mom have a strained relationship with her and Jordan, but they haven't disowned them because of their kids. My dad even refused to walk Ursula down the aisle at her wedding, which I didn't attend. However, I kept in touch with my parents after I moved to England, and they were supportive of me. My mom couldn't come to my wedding due to her back surgery, as she's in her 60s and has various health issues. My dad attended the wedding. Later, my mom managed to visit me after my honeymoon, but she was devastated that she couldn't meet my son due to flight difficulties. I'm now going back to my hometown for some business, and I would have gone regardless of the phone call. It's been 4 years since I last saw my mom and dad, and I miss them. Despite my feelings towards my sister, I don't hate my parents. I may have given the wrong impression of my parents. They are not bad people, and they do love both of their kids. I don't believe they sidelined me. My dad and Ursula's relationship is still strained, but he's only involved because of the grandkids. My mom is the same way. I never asked them to cut off Ursula because she needed them, but I kept my distance from her. They still don't like Jordan and Ursula. My dad even refused to walk her down the aisle when she married Jordan. I distanced myself for my own reasons. I got a job in the UK and traveled around Europe, something I always wanted to do. Now, I'm settled in my life with my 4-year-old son, husband, and stepdaughter. My mom and dad still keep in touch with me. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to meet my mom in 3 years because of COVID and other issues. Now, I might have to visit my hometown because of a project, and I also miss them. I don't blame my mom for not attending my wedding. She had a surgery, and it was difficult for her to move. She was present on video chat during the whole ceremony. It's been 4 years since we've seen each other, and I believe she misses me a lot. I miss her too. Update. So, I arrived in my home country with my husband and son. My mom and dad picked us up from the airport, and it was wonderful to see them after so many years. They looked tired and pale, as if they haven't eaten or slept well for a long time. My mom was especially happy to meet my husband and son since she hadn't met them before. I asked them not to tell my sister that I'm here, as I'll only be staying for a few weeks before leaving. Right now, I'm staying with my aunt. As for my sister, my mom told me she's living with her and her kids. I learned some things about my sister. She was having an affair with her former married boss, and it turns out the 2 kids she has are actually his. The boss's wife found out and confronted my sister, resulting in a physical altercation. Interestingly, the company where the boss works is owned by his father-in-law. Yeah, her boss is going to lose his job because of the affair. My sister had already switched jobs before all this drama unfolded, but she continued the affair. Now, because of the whole situation, she's at risk of losing her new job too, as the company's owner is friends with the boss's wife. It's like she's gotten herself into a difficult situation she can't escape from. Jordan has also quit his job because he refuses to pay my sister alimony and child support for the kids that aren't his. He's planning to sue the boss for child support for those kids. They are constantly fighting, and my mom says it's taking a toll on Jordan's mental state. On top of that, he was also having an affair with his coworker. My mom wants to kick my sister out, but she can't because of her kids. She may hate my sister, but she doesn't want to punish the innocent kids. I can't help but feel sorry for those children too. They don't deserve to be caught in the middle of such a messy situation with their parents. I want to make it clear that my parents are not bad people. They have been very supportive of me. The only reason they continue to have contact with my sister Ursula is because of her kids. I feel sorry for my mom because she doesn't have much time left, and with her illness, she may not have the strength to handle all this drama. I know my sister will somehow find out that I am here, but I am ready for that. I don't want to see her because I know she'll pull me into her mess, but I plan to enjoy the few weeks I have with my husband and child.